another session of the video where we're going to be continuing the solution of June 2021 Chemistry Paper 1 Cameroon General Certificate of Education. If you haven't subscribed, please consider it so that you wouldn't miss any of the future videos.
Question number 26. Which property of an atom does not affect its first ionization energy? First ionization energy is the minimum energy required to remove a mole of electrons from a gaseous atom to form a mole of a unipositive gaseous ion. So atomic radius has a role as well as a number of shells. The protons are positively charged and they tend to pull electrons, thereby making them uneasy to be lost. So C is our best answer. The number of neutrons does not affect the first ionization energy. Question 27. Copper forms the complex that. Which one of the following information is correct? So let's analyze the complex. So this is the complex in an open form ETTA called ethylene diamine tetraacetate. It is said to be a hexadentate ligand because it has 6 different atoms with lone pairs, 4 oxygen atoms with lone pairs and 2 nitrogen atoms with lone pairs of electrons. So it is a hexadentate ligand. Option A says the oxidation state of copper is +2 and the coordination number of the complex is 6. Let's verify. So the complex has 4 oxygen minus atoms, which means that the complex itself has a charge of -4 because there are 4 minus oxygen atoms. So for this compound, let copper be X, and since there are 4 oxygen minus atoms, it will be charge of -4, and the overall charge is -2. So X is going to be +2. Therefore, the oxidation state of copper is +2, and the coordination number is 6, like we saw already in the compound. So A is the correct option. Number 28. 0.58 grams of a volatile organic liquid when vaporized at 25 degrees Celsius in 1 atmosphere occupied a volume of 0.24 dm3. What is the molar mass of the liquid, given the molar gas constant to be that 0.082. So in this problem, we are going to use the ideal gas equation, which says PV is equal to nRT, where n is the number of moles, and PV is equal to, number of moles can also be expressed as mass over molar mass. We have mass RT over molar mass. So from here, molar mass is equal to mRT on PV. Let's also see these values. These values have to be substituted in this expression. I converted the temperature to Kelvin by adding 25 degrees and 273 Kelvin. From these values, we are going to express everything in this equation. So this is what we're going to have as our expression. And from here, punching our calculator, we're going to have 59.05, and our best answer is B. Number 29. An organic compound was fused with metallic sodium, plunged in water, and the solution filtered. When a few drops of sodium nitroprusside were added to a portion of the filtrate in a test tube, a violet coloration was observed. This shows that the organic compound contains. So nitroprusside is a test for the presence of sulfur. So we are identifying the presence of the sulfide ion, which indicates the presence of sulfur in the organic compound. Number 30. A sample of 2.3 grams of ethanol was mixed with an excess of aqueous acidified potassium dichromate and refined to give ethanoic acid. If the yield of the product was 60%, what mass of products was collected? So from the question, we only have the given mass of ethanol, and we don't have the corresponding mass of ethanoic acid that reacts with ethanol to produce a particular product which has a 60% yield. So we are going to use simple proportion, that 46 grams of ethanol requires 60 grams of ethanoic acid. What mass now of ethanoic acid will 2.3 grams require? It is just X, which is simple proportion. So X will be 2.3 times 60 divided by 46, which is equal to 3 grams. So 3 grams now is called the theoretical yield. 3 grams is the mass, we call it the theoretical yield. Now, we need to calculate actually the yield that was supposed to be formed. We need to calculate the actual yield. And we are going to have this expression. And by substituting, we have 60 times 3 on 100. So our answer is 1.8 grams, which makes D to be our best option. Always note that the actual yield is always less than theoretical yield, because percentage yield cannot be 100. Because percentage yield cannot easily be 100 due to unfavorable environmental conditions. Compound gives a positive test with alkaline aqueous iodine and does not show optical isomerism. So let's talk about positive iodoform by drawing out the structure of A. You can see that A is of the form methyl carbon O, and that is the condition for positive iodoform. So A actually shows positive iodoform, and A is not optically active because there is no chiral carbon, unlike C, which has a chiral carbon. So option A is the best answer. Question 32. X and Y are the reagents required to convert 1-bromopropane into butanoic acid. We have bromoalkane giving us a cyanyl compound, which further gives us a carboxylic acid. What are the correct identities of X and Y? So let's take down the structures. So from conversion of haloalkanes to cyanyl compounds, we need potassium cyanide in alcoholic medium. While to convert from the cyanyl compound to a carboxylic acid, we talk about acid hydrolysis, that is acid in water. And our best option is C, where this is X and this is Y. So option C is the best answer. Question 33. Which mixture could be used to produce propyl methanoate? So propyl methanoate is an ester, and it is produced by a process called esterification. So when an alcohol reacts with a carboxylic acid in the presence of sulfuric acid, it gives rise to an ester. So let's see the equation. So this is the equation of the reaction, and this is the ester propyl methanoate. This is the alcohol, this is a carboxylic acid, propanol and methanoic acid. So option B is the correct option, where for the formation of an ester, the OH group is removed from the carboxylic acid and hydrogen atom is removed from the alcohol to form water. Question 34. Which series shows molecules in order of increase in bond angle? So let's try by drawing down the bond angles of the different molecules. So from these different structures, the correct arrangement in order of increasing bond angle will be from ammonia to methane and carbon dioxide, which goes from 107, 109 to 180, which makes C to be our correct answer. Question 35. The reaction ethanol reacting with hydrogen cyanide to give a hydroxycyanyl compound is an example of, so this type of reaction is an example of nucleophilic addition. Let's give an illustrative equation for the mechanism. So we have something like this, a mechanism where the cyanyl group attaches itself to the carbocation formed by nucleophilic addition, and the H plus attaches itself to the oxygen atom after undergoing a mesomeric shift. So our best option is B. Question 36. What is the accepted conventional name for the compound? So let's draw out the open structure. So this is the longest carbon chain, and these are substituents. The alkyl groups are substituents on the chain, and we count from carbon 1, 2, 3, 4. So these alkyl groups are on the second carbon atom. So there will be 2,2-dimethyl, since there are two of them, dimethyl butane. So our option is A. 37. Which equation has an enthalpy change of reaction which corresponds to the standard enthalpy change of atomization of hydrogen? Enthalpy of atomization is heat absorbed when 1 mole of a gaseous atom is formed from its constituent element. So we are seeing that we have hydrogen diatomic being atomized to form the hydrogen atom. Our best answer is going to be A, since at standard conditions, hydrogen is a gas and not a liquid. So A is our best option. Feel free to pause the video and read the instructions before we continue from question 38. Question 38. Two solutions of aqueous hydrochloric acid were put into two different beakers, 1 and 2 respectively. Two different samples of magnesium were added to each of the beakers, and the rate of production of hydrogen gas was measured. It was observed that the rate of the reaction in beaker 2 was greater than the rate of the reaction in beaker 1. What is likely the explanation of this observation? So we have option 1. The reaction in beaker 1 has a higher activation energy than the reaction in beaker 2. That is actually a true statement, because for a reaction to proceed faster, its activation energy should be lower. 2. The magnesium in beaker 1 is in larger pieces than the magnesium in beaker 2. Actually, when it is in lumps, the rate of reaction is slow. When it is powdered, surface area is increased to the hydrochloric acid. 3. The acid in beaker 2 is at a higher concentration than the acid in beaker 1, which is of course true. An increase in concentration increases number of particles, thereby increasing effective collision. So, our option is A. 1, 2, 3 are correct. Question 39. Which of the following statements are correct for an atom? 1. Atoms of all elements contain protons, neutrons, and electrons. Is this true? Of course not. We have hydrogen, for instance, hydrogen 1 and mass number 1. For number of neutrons, it is mass number minus atomic number, which is 0. Therefore, hydrogen has 0 neutrons, making it false. 2. An atom is electrically neutral because it contains equal number of electrons and protons. So there is always a cancellation of charge if the number of electrons are the same as those of protons. So 2 is correct. 3. The ionization energy of an atom is a direct measurement of the ease with which an atom can lose an electron. This is also a true statement. That is ionization energy. Energy required to remove an electron from a mole of a gaseous atom to form a mole of a gaseous ion. So 2 and 3 are correct. And our answer is C. Question 40. Which statements about reversible reactions are correct? 1. An increase in concentration of a reactant always increases the concentration of the product. That is following Le Chatelier's principle. Of course, it's a true statement that equilibrium position will shift so as to cancel the effect by producing more products. 2. An increase in temperature always increases the rate at which the equilibrium is established. That is true due to effective collision of particles. 3. Addition of a catalyst will increase the concentration of the product at equilibrium. Of course not. That's not true, because a catalyst can either favor the forward reaction or the backward reaction. So 1 and 2 are correct, making option B to be correct. Question 41. The halogenoalkanes listed below all react with sodium hydroxide. Which compounds proceed mainly by an SN1 mechanism? So SN1 is nucleophilic substitution unimolecular, and this is a type of reaction undergone by tertiary halogeno compounds. So let's try to bring out the structures of these compounds. So this is a primary, this is a tertiary, and this is a tertiary. So tertiary alcohols will undergo SN1 mechanisms, and SN1 simply means that only one molecule or one species is involved at the rate determining step. So 2 and 3 are correct for SN1. Option 1, which is iodopropane, will undergo SN2 mechanism. So option C is correct. Question 42. Which properties increase from magnesium to barium? 1. Ionic radius of the cation M2+. Of course, that's a true statement because of increase in the number of shares down the group. 2. Screening of outermost electrons by inner shares. That is true. Screening effect increases down the group. 3. Solubility of the hydroxide. Of course, it's a true statement because in water there is an increase in hydration energy down the group, thereby increase in solubility. 1, 2, 3 are correct, making option A to be our best answer. Question 43. The melting point of chlorine is lower than the melting point of iodine. Which statements help to explain these differences? First of all, we talk about boiling points. determinant as the intermolecular forces. So intermolecular forces determine boiling point. So we're mainly going to focus on the intermolecular force between the molecule. So we are going to see that iodine has more electrons than chlorine and so has stronger van der Waals forces. So our best option is option 3 alone. These 1 and 2 are not really involved for boiling point. Hence, our answer is D. Question 44. In the Bronsted-Lowry theory of acid-base behavior, 1. Water can behave as both an acid and a base. Of course, this is a true statement. Let's see why. An acid, according to Bronsted-Lowry theory, is a proton donor, while a base is a proton acceptor. So whenever an acid loses a proton, it forms its conjugate base. So when we look at this, water here with respect to hydrogen means that water has lost a proton. If it has lost a proton, it acts as an acid. An acid is a proton donor. And what gains a proton acts as a base. So with respect to water and hydroxide, water acts as an acid while the OH acts as a conjugate base. Now for the reverse reaction, if a proton is gained, water now acts as a base while the proton acts as an acid. Hence, water acts both as acid and base. 2. The conjugate base of hydrogen sulfate is sulfate. Of course, this is a true statement. Let's see. So, the hydrogen sulfate loses a proton to form sulfate. So, an acid is a proton donor. This is the acid, and this will be the conjugate base. So, this is a true statement. 3. The conjugate acid of ammonia is the hydrosodium ion, which is false. The hydrogen does not even have nitrogen, so it's a false statement. So 1 and 2 only are correct. And our best option is B. 45. Which of the following processes are likely to be exothermic? 1. Oxygen receiving an electron, that is first electron affinity. Of course, first electron affinity is exothermic. It gives heat to the surrounding. 2. Magnesium reacting with oxygen, that is combustion. Combustion is an exothermic reaction. And 3, we talk about hydration of the sodium ion. Knowing that sodium reacts vigorously with water, therefore it will evolve heat when reacted with water. It is also exothermic, making our answer to be A. You can pause the video and read the instructions to continue from question 46 to 50. Question 46. First statement. The melting point of carbon is lower than the other group 4 elements. Is this true? Of course not. Let's see. We can see that the melting points actually decrease down the group due to change of structure from giant molecular to metallic. So from tin to lead, we go towards metallic. So the melting point actually decrease down the group. So this one is a wrong statement. Second statement, carbon forms gaseous oxide, whereas the oxides of the other group 4 elements are solid. This is true. This is because the oxides of carbon have simple molecular structure, while the other elements have giant covalent structures. Question 47. Phenylamine reacts with ice-cold nitrous acid, liberating nitrogen and forming phenol. This is a true statement. The second statement, the amino group attached to the benzene ring has an unshared electron pair, hence phenylamine acts as a base. It acts as a base due to the presence of lone pairs of electrons on the nitrogen atom that can receive protons. So, second statement is also correct, but the second statement is not a direct effect of the first. So, our answer is B. Question 48. The first electron affinity of sulfur is negative, while the second electron affinity is positive. Of course, this is a true statement. Second statement, when bonds are formed, energy is released, but when bonds are broken, energy is required. Energy is required to break bonds. So this is a true statement. But does it explain the first statement? No. So our option is B. Question 49. Propanoic acid is a stronger acid than ethanoic acid. Of course not. An acid strength can increase due to the ease with which it can lose a proton. So for ethanoic acid, it can easily donate the proton, while for propanoic acid, there is some sort of inductive effect that makes the hydrogen atom to be firmly bound to oxygen, making it unavailable for donation and hence weaker acid. So this is the first statement. 2. An alkyl group has an electron releasing effect related to a hydrogen atom, which is true, what we call inductive effect. Question 50. The atomic radius of transition metals decreases gradually from scandium to copper, which is true, due to increase in effective nuclear charge. Second statement, nuclear charge increases from scandium to copper, and the electrons entering the inner d orbital have little screening effect. That's also a true statement, and it does explain the first statement. So our answer is A. 50 is A. So that's the end of this video. If you found this video helpful, please do consider to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share, and comment. Thank you, and thanks for watching.